Hello everybody. Super good morning everyone. 7:30 in the morning again, and this is your host Kevin John bringing you another episode here talking about part 2 today. Right, since we have already done with all the essential basic information on part 2, we have talked about all the component in the part 2 chart. So today we're gonna do a session whereby we're gonna talk about stuff that you can read on your own. Even if you are a amateur, right? So these are stuff that you should go and read a bit on your own, and you can do a bit of a self-discovery for yourself, right? So these are I'm gonna start off with these three things. So DIY mean do it yourself. Right, which is a very big what we call tool selling retail in Malaysia, right? So we got Mr. DIY around, right? So hello Pegboy, hello Mabel, hello Eve, hello Justin, hello Heck, how are you guys all doing? Hopefully everybody is doing well. Yeah, right. So any news? Our beloved controversial singer Mr. Nimwi, right? So has been released on bail. Right, so it was said that the death has he didn't directly cause death lah. That's basically he didn't murder the fella. So but anyway right. So the saga continue. Okay, the saga continue on that end. Other than that, every place is raining right now. Right, so we are entering what we call the monsoon season. Right, so now every year also got one monsoon season. Right, so end of the year, it's where the rain volume is a little bit more higher, and places whereby their water dispersion is not done really correctly will get flooded. Right, so getting flooding in Malaysia is pretty normal. So right now we add another new thing is landslide. Yep, right. So for places that is overdeveloped, whereby the land is not properly put together, then you have some landslide as well, right? So now anyway, right, so now that's a bit of an update on news, right? So I don't know why. Right, so hopefully everybody is fine. Come, let's go in and take a look at this particular topic on talking about things that you can read on your own, right? So these are stuff that doesn't require heavy Chinese metaphysics knowledge, right? So parts doesn't require parts knowledge. Yeah, we have covered everything on parts essential requirements so that we can move into some of the reading. So today we'll also do a bit of a software demo on the Typing Astro, right? So that when you guys use it, you are a bit more familiar, right? So come, let's go in and take a look at this. As usual, getting in touch with me, Telegram will be a good platform, right? So I do read the Telegram. If you want to just read stuff on print, mean that it's text reading, then you can go and join the newsletter, right? So join the newsletter, and if you need a community support, go Facebook and join the Facebook. Any one of these you can PM me, so I'll respond to you at any time, right? So this is Typing Astro, as you guys all know. Right, so this is the software, right? So if you want to go and register yourself for a free account, right? So just go into Typing Astro and get your free account registered. Pretty simple, pretty easy, right? So and what we have been looking at is basically this bottom portion, right? So it's just a summary portion, right? This is where the computer, right? So the programmer has programmed in certain criteria to extract out some summary information and put it together. Right, so now if you take a look at it, the left hand side, you want to call it the 5 different area, is basically the elemental component, the 5 element, right? So whether fire, water, earth, wood, and also metal, right? So it's 5 element. And then on the right hand side is where the 5 element is break into the separate yin and yang, or a lot of time where we call it the 10 God component. Right, so we have already explained all the 5 elements, the characteristic, how does it look like. We also already explained all of the 10 God, right? So if you want this information, just go back and watch the video, right? So that talk about the individual 10 God itself, then you have some information to read. So this is summary. So summary means that you don't need to read your party chart. Right, a lot of people find it very daunting when it comes to reading the 8 character of the party chart. It's like some even give excuses. I don't read Chinese. I always tell people, you don't read Chinese, but you know football logo, but you know handbag logo. How come? Right? How come, from far you look at Gucci, you know what is Gucci, from far you look at Manchester United, you know it's Manchester United. Amazing, school never teach you one. Right? So no, you can just pretend that all the Chinese character is just a football club logo. That's it. Right? You got your Ting Football Club, you got your Ping Football Club. right? Make no difference, right? So we will be concentrating on reading on this, right? So today we will talk about some component that you can start reading when you look at the summary itself, so you don't bother about the rest of it. All right, cool, easy. Right, so I can see Jeannie just joining, Kelvin just joining, PJ Cock just joining, Kahing just joining. Good morning to all of you. All right, so great for you. Right, so now first of all, what you can read, all right, so you can read a person's natural gravitation. Right, so what is the natural gravitation of a moth? Right, so want to ask a totally slight question of feng shui. Can we install aircon this month? Can you install aircon this month on Northwest? You want to install, you install, just find a correct date to install only. Right, so all this installation, as long as you are drilling the wall, you're hacking the wall, it is called a groundbreaking event. A groundbreaking event, you just need to find the correct date for you to do the, right? So the entire idea is that you don't activate negative energy, and you just find a day whereby the positive energy overwhelm the negative energy, then you can do it, right? So or else, you can never do. Right, so excursion info on the site only China or Vietnam. On your site, it's only China or Vietnam. Right, so haven't come out yet with the excursion information. I still need to collect some costing information from the what we call tour agent. Right, so costing. It's gonna be in China, by the way. Right, so it's gonna be in China. It's gonna be end October, beginning September, right? So right after the school holiday of the China school going children, right? So we're gonna go on that particular period, lesser. So I need to check clearly which is the weeks whereby it is the most least amount of Chinese people is out on the street, right? Or else you're not gonna be, right? So now back to this one, natural gravitation of a moth. So you guys know that moths like to fly to fire and kill themselves. Right, so now when we talk about natural gravitation, it's really a person's natural, direction, right? So which means that under no duress circumstance, that is their preference. Like some people preference to eat rice, some people preference to eat noodle. Nothing wrong one. These are just basically natural preferences. So these are things that if under duress, if choices is available, whatever it is, this is their normal way of choosing. Like I got a friends, who always choose Western food, like my children. Like my children always choose Western food, right? So Olga, how many days at 10? 10 days. You minus off fly in and fly out, it's about 8 days, right? So about 8 days of actually in China traveling, because the first and last day is fly in, fly out. We still add it into it, because we need to give you accommodation, but then it's 10 days, right? So now, okay, right. So back to this one, right? So some under natural circumstances always look for Western food. Some under natural circumstances always look for Eastern food. No right, no wrong. Right, so these are what we call natural gravitation of a person. Right, so your puzzle chart also tells you what is your natural gravitation. This is the direction that you normally would push yourself towards. Right, so by knowing that, then under what circumstance would basically be more what we call relaxing to you. I just put it in a way. Right, so we want to go the direction whereby it is more easier, right? So more direction is more easier, what. So how you're going to read it, where you're going to find the information is basically this particular section only, right? So this particular section is a overall addition or accumulation of all your different elemental component, right? So it gives a rough calculation. So now again, this is not exact science, because everybody uses different formula, right? So every single programmer uses different formula. So again, these are all formula driven. So basically, I tell you is that they assign numbers to the puzzle chart, right? So all the puzzle chart, all the 8 boxes, they assign numbers to it. Then they add all the numbers together, then they give you a percentage, right? So in this way, it's not accurate. Not accurate, better than you cannot read. Okay, just put it in that way, right? So or else you completely cannot read. So for those of you who can actually read a puzzle chart, you actually won't look at this anymore, right? So like for me, if you ask me this one, I won't use it at all, right? So but for you who just beginning, this is the first, second, maybe third, fourth time that you're doing this, it's a good reference, right? So without anything, it's a good reference. Like for example, this particular person is more earth dominant, you want to call it earth dominant, or they got a natural gravitation toward earth, right? So everybody chart, you have different natural gravitation. So this one we look at the natal, right? Look at the natal, don't need to look at 2025. 2025 is after adding the year component into it. Right, so every year got different, like for example, this particular is a snake year, right? So they will add the snake component into it. So next year is gonna be the fire horse. So the fire is the dominant energy. So everybody chart next year, the fire side would shoot up. Right, so makes sense, right? So now this one is just natural gravitation. So when you take a look at it, Earth is the natural gravitation. So you can right now go back to find a video that talk about Earth and Earth natural ability. So when you put yourself in a situation whereby Earth is being valued, the characteristic of Earth is being valued, Earth is something that is a little bit more stronger, right? So then you are in an advantage zone, or what we call. Right, so that's the important part, is to align your natural ability towards places whereby they find your natural ability to be something that is of value. Right, so this is what we are trying to do. Right, so it's pretty easy. So you can start to find, let's say Earth, that this particular person, Earth, a lot of time we say this particular person is trustworthy, right? So you want to be in a place, or you want to be in a career, or you want to be in a circumstance, whereby trust is something that is really very important. Then you got a bit more what we call advantageous. If let's say that metal happen to be the more heavier component, so if metal more heavier component, it require a lot of precision. So you go into area whereby precision is something that is very important, right? So you go into industry whereby they like precision, or you talk to people which is very precise, right? Very precise, very sharp one, right? So if let's say that water, water happen to be the connectivity element, right? So it's the element that connects things together. So when you are in an area whereby connectivity and mobility is actually something that is valued, then you are more easier for you to do that, right? So if wood, then it's growth based, right? So growth based learning required, right? So you are in the learning industry, you're in the growth based industry, you are in the improvement industry, right? So then you have certain advantage, whereby fire is basically the attention industry, right? So you're in the attention industry that require attention, industry that has what we call rapid changes. Then you got advantages, right? Because why? Those things is natural to you, right? So those things is natural to you, so you don't need to go through a very heavy augmentation of whatever that you are doing to suits into that particular career, right? So that's what you want to do. And also it also tells you which type of people that you'll be with, and it's basically it's easier, right? So like for example, you guys know that Earth and the wood is basically two very distinctly different, right? So Earth like to stay the same, whereas wood like to change, right? So if you have a lot of wood friend, then your wood friend keep on changing, you keep on staying the same place, right? So you can see that eventually it doesn't work out, you see. Right, so but if you are the wood very heavy one, and you're a friend with wood people, everybody started growing, you would find it to be very invigorating, right? So that's all. It's not that telling you cannot, right? It's not telling you cannot, no, just that you put yourself in that particular situation. So you can read this, right? So now you know that, hey, also this is my number one natural tendency in doing things, is that I'm a bit more heavy on this particular side. Right, cool, can, right? So now if you take a look at it, if we want to just put in the year component, the year component basically tells you that, this year there is a drastic change in this particular area, right? So now whether you want to see the drastic change as a something, is a threat to you or it's an opportunity to you, depend on how you look at stuff. There's no such thing as threat and opportunity in my world, right? Just say that, things happen. Right, so things happen is about what you decide to do when the things basically happen. Now to me is that when things changes, I would just say that this is a learning opportunity. Right, if it increase, then it's an opportunity for you to learn, right? So you are subjected to more of this sort of circumstance and situation. So which means that if you take up your time to do a bit of a learning, good for you. Right, so if you further refine this, right? So if you further refine this going into it, right? So then we talk about a person's natural skill set. Right, so you can also discover a person's natural skill set, or sometimes they like to use the word talent, Okay, right. So they like to use the word talent, but again, talent untrained also not very useful, right? So like for example, monkey natural skill set is what that monkey know how to climb tree, right? Talk about, let's say, fish. Fish know how to swim. So what happened when a fish trying to climb tree and monkey trying to swim? Doesn't really work very well, right? So again, the entire idea right now is to understand at what circumstance situation do you excel, and in what circumstance situation are you in a hindering position. So you try to align yourself in an area whereby you excel, so that your resistance level drop, everything become much more easier. It's not saying that you cannot learn how to do this, right? So it's not saying that you cannot learn how to do all this particular thing. It can, right? So if you want to go and learn, can, but just that some people require a much higher level. Like for example, I know I don't have any EG, don't have any hurting officer, right? So I am particularly not very talented when it comes to artistic skill set, right? So yeah, right? So so how? Nothing, just abandon artistic skill set. Right? Subcon everything to ChatGPT right now. Right? So you don't need to be artistic anymore. ChatGPT can be as artistic as you want. Right? You just need to prompt the ChatGPT, to be artistic. That's it. Done. Right? So ChatGPT can help you with, the artistic part of a lot of stuff. Right? So same thing also, if with the life, right? So if that is the area whereby you're weak at, just subcon the weak area to somebody else. Last time cannot do that. Right, monkey speed in plucking coconut from the coconut tree are excellent. Yes, they are also much more cheaper. Right, they are also much more cheaper than actually using what we call other machinery, right? So they're using other machinery, right? So it's about understanding your natural skill set. So where do you read? So you go and read this particular portion, right? You go and read this particular portion. So the high component portion is basically what you are naturally adapted to. So again, no good, no bad first, right? So now what is called high? High is what? 70-80% is basically high already, right? So to me, I usually just read the top 3, right? The bottom one are stuff that, you wish that you don't need to touch. It's not that you're not good at it. I just tell you first, it's just that you wish that you don't want to touch, right? So these are stuff that, you pretend that you don't see. Right, so is it wrong, right? So now in the olden day reading is actually in reverse, right? Olden day reading, those that is low one is basically called your auspicious element, right? The high one is actually called the inauspicious element, right? So you guys know, right? Oh, what is my auspicious element, inauspicious element? You can read this as a general guide. Low one is actually auspicious, high one is actually inauspicious. But in today more modern reading, we don't do this, right? So we just say that the high one is what you are naturally aligned to, the low one is not aligned to, right? So because the idea in the olden days is that you need to take care of everything. In the olden day, there's no such thing as employing another person or get another person in, because in the olden day they don't trust anybody else. The only way for you to get a worker in the olden day is that you give birth to a worker. Right, so it's about making baby in the olden days, right? So no, you don't employ people from outside. Doesn't work, right? So doesn't work in the olden day, right? So today different. Today you can always compensate your weak point by somebody else's strong point. Just go and find somebody who is strong at the area that you're weak. Work together with them. It's best for you to be strong at the area that they are weak, so you can swap job. Things that they like to do, give to them. Things that you don't like to do, you give to them. Pretty easy. Right, so go and take a look at what are the things, right? So now we have covered all the 10 gods. This is basically just reading 10 gods. Just now was a overall of your what we call structure. So in 10 gods, you call it the output, you call it the influence, you call it the wealth, you call it the resources, you call it the companion. Right, so those are overall big bucket of 5 elements. So when the 5 element is broke into smaller element, which is the yin and yang element, you get 10 different skill set. Like for example, this fellow is direct officer. So direct officer, you guys know that the characteristic that this is a by the book person, follow the rule person. So if you work in an area whereby going by the book, following the rule is what you require, then the fellow excel in this area, because the fellow doesn't have to struggle, right? It like to follow rules. So that's why direct officer, a lot of time we talk about enforcement. And so being police officer, you know, those, you know, again, normal police officer. So being in enforcement, so last time is actually being the officer of the empire, right? So the people who work there. If day master is not in the top 3, right, does it mean that the day master is weak? Yeah, can. There is also a fast way of basically looking at, you know, whether your day master is weak or not weak, right? But again, you know, knowing your day master is weak or not weak, what's the point of it? Right, the idea is what's the point of it? Right, so now we have moved away from the traditional reading, which is, you know, a weekday master like this, strong day master like that. To me, you know, is not much of a relevant. For me, is that what actually you want to do and what are the stuff that you need to do. Right, so again, you know, if you take a look like this particular fella, the friend star is pretty strong. Right, so friend star pretty strong mean that, you know, it's easy for the fella to connect level with people. Right, so with direct officer, friend star very strong. This one, make a good statesman, not politician. Tell you first, statesman. Right, so make a good statesman. Right, so or born in the right season. Yeah, no, so you want to read born in the right season, you know, can, right? But today, you know, we are not reading the season thing. In this screen, you will not find season. Okay? This particular summary, you will not find season. Right, so I don't even know whether season play a role in this. Like this sort of summary, usually those combine, clash, you know, whatever, all are not taken into consideration, all transformation, whatever is not taken. It's just purely mathematical calculation. Every boxes get assigned a number, right? So and then they add the number together to give you this. That's it. Right? So there's no different permutation here. So that's why it's a bit limited in terms of reading. But for a quick read, just for normal discussion, you know, just for beginning purpose, better than none. Right, better than you don't know where to start, right? So you can take a look, right? For example, you can take a look at direct resource. Direct resource is somebody who is, you know, rather okay with data analysis, right? So, you know, yeah, no, this guy is, you know, very heavy data analysis, you know, easy, you know, is overall is a very good guy template. Right, so is it important born in a right season? Yes and no is the answer. In the olden day reading, yes, it's important because the right season give you strength and they favor stronger day master. Now, just in strong day master, you take care of everything on your own. Weak day master, you need to seek people to help you. That's it. That's the only difference. Right, so again, in the olden day, it's impossible to find people to help you. Find people also is important already. Don't say help first. Just to find another human in the olden days is difficult. Because why town and town is too far apart? Not like right now. Not like right now. You know, right now, you know, if you go China in the wrong timing, you will find people very, very close to you. Right, I lined up to go into Tiananmen Square. That was the worst decision ever. Right, so they said, you know, you must go see Tiananmen Square. Right, you know, I have to go through 6 lineup to get to Tiananmen Square. Line up to go into a lineup, that go into another lineup, that go into another lineup. 6, just to get to Tiananmen Square, right? So you just get, you know, redirected. You know, the LRT station just come out, it's just Tiananmen Square, and then they ask you to walk all the way to don't know where across the street. You know, then go through It's basically a maze, right? Just before to go into Tiananmen Square there. And then you see another line that line up to go and see Mao Zedong body, which is a waste of time for me, so I didn't go, right? So yeah. So if your day master is stronger, you can take care of things more. Day master weaker, usually need other people to do, right? So, but if we take a look at, you know, major conglomerate versus an SME. So if you're a strong day master, usually, you know, you're the SME type. The boss can do a lot of things. Right, but if you are the weekday master type, you know, you're like a conglomerate, you know, everybody got different departments. Right, so you want to government, if you went into a government building, yeah, it's a government building, yes. The entire Tiananmen Square is government building. Right, weekday master get tired more easily. Not exactly a way. Right, see production, right? So weekday master does not really get tired more easily. More exactly is that the fella often try to find a way to escape. Being tired is one way to do so. Right, so now go and take a look at this. You know, what is the I would advise you just to read the top 3 now. Whether they are high, they are low, don't care. First read the top 3 first, and then, you know, go back and watch the video, you know, that is in conjunction with the what we call the tango, whether direct officer, right? So you would see that there is a characteristic, then there is a certain job that. So again, the reading is basically to find out what is the actual characteristic of that particular element in question, then find out that what area does this element actually work out better, right? So like for example, direct officer, again, it's by the book. So if you work in an area whereby it doesn't go by the book one, right, then you're in big trouble, right? You become what we call a stuck-up fella, right? So let's talk about, if let's say that a direct officer were to be in a new startup, that is disaster, right? Because a new startup here, no SOP, everything is basically cowboy all over the places, or you ask a direct officer to go and open up a new market, sure die. Doesn't work, right? It's not that the direct officer is bad, because the entire activity of open up a new market means that there's no rules, no regulation going on. Wild Wild West, right? So direct officer doesn't work well in Wild Wild West, right? So you need to go and find Wild Wild West people. Now, Wild Wild West people is like Rockwell, go and find 7 Killing. Those are called Wild Wild West people. Right, so again, it's not that Wild Wild West is bad or this sort of is good. It's really circumstantial, right? Really circumstantial. Every situation also you got the right people doing the work, right? So like direct officer, you ask them to do sales, right? No good. Direct officer not good at doing sales at all. Okay. Right, so you need somebody who is a bit more gung-ho in terms of doing sales, right? So also weekday master, even when friend's element is strong, actually still lack self-confidence. Yes, right? So weekday master basically is a self-confidence issue. They have a self-confidence issue, right? So small bit, but can fix or not? Can fix one. Once you know already, it's very easy to fix. Right, so like for example, this fellow know that the fellow is direct officer, then don't go into a situation whereby you need to not follow rule, that's it, right? So you go for place whereby it is structure, right? So you go for places and job and people, whereby they are bit more obedient, right? So things like that, right? So Olga came from old BaZi school based on weak and strong element prioritization. Yeah, I know that's how the old BaZi school basically is reading. But if you use the old BaZi school to read in this particular modern world, confirm sure die. Confirm sure die. Right? So again, the old BaZi school reading is very bleak. Right? It's not that disagreement, it's just that in the olden day, lesser choices. Today we got more choices. Right? So there's a lot of way to fix, especially the entire idea of, if I'm not good at this, go find that. Like for example, if you see this fella, wow, what is called I cannot even read. Right? So direct wealth is very low. Right, so you can see that the fellow direct wealth is very low. So if the fellow direct wealth, so you know that this particular person, the entire idea of for lack of wording, direct responsibility is not really that high. Right? So then he better be in an environment whereby work in a team, right? So work in basically in a team environment, and he is able to direct and control the team, right? So that's why I say that this fella, if you become a statesman, then it's good. Go and read that, right? So go and basically read that, then you have a rough idea. Then once you got a rough idea already, then you need to start to imagine, where should I put myself? Right? If I put myself in this particular area, is it an advantageous for me, or do I put myself in this area, is it disadvantageous to me? Right, so when you start to think in that particular manner, then you are able to put yourself in a circumstance whereby you stand at an advantage. Your characteristic, your construct build is an advantage for yourself. Then, it's easier for you to function. Right, so again, the idea is to find an area whereby you function easily. Right, so like for example, the monkey. Right, so if the monkey were to choose a island with water, savanna, and also a jungle with tree, right? So if you want to excel, of course, please go to the savanna with tree. Same thing also, the what we call lion. You guys know that they call the lion the king of beasts, right? So we call the lion is the king of beasts, and then you got tiger, right? So now again, tiger does not function properly in the savanna plain. If you send a lion into the jungle, also the lion doesn't what we call work properly. So you can see lion actually, the lion itself does not really have very strong fighting power. The lion actually fight in packs, and the one that fight is actually the lioness, if you don't know, right? So but tiger is fight on their own. Tiger don't fight in pack. So which means that if you put the lion and the tiger together on a one-on-one fight, tiger will actually win. Although you said that lion is the king of beasts. Okay, right? So but if you ask the lion to come out to the savannah to fight, the tiger would actually lose, because the rest of the lion pack would actually come and hit together. But if the lion pack were to go into the jungle, the tiger will win. Right? So there's nothing wrong with being lion or tiger. Right? The situation is never absolute one. Right? So yeah, tiger move alone. Tiger move alone. Tiger is basically much more stronger. So you want to say that the strong day master is the tiger. Everything settled on his own, right? So the weak day master is actually the lion, right? But it's the lion that is actually being labeled as the king of beasts, because why? It controls a pack. When it controls a pack, it's a king of beasts, right? So like very funny, just now only I just saw a TikTok YouTube video. It's about a wolf, right? So you guys know that wolf is also a pack hunting animal, right? So they go by again. So there's this used to be alpha wolf, right? So one time, fighting, got injured. So now wolf is very practical. You get injured, you're old already, they chase you out of the pack, right? They ask you to go out and die on your own. That's what the wolf does, right? So because the wolf need to maintain a strong unit. So if you are somebody who is sick or what, they chase you out, right? So this particular, ex-alpha wolf got chased out. So, and then, life wasn't very good, got chased out, cannot fight, Then one day, the fella found a highway. Right? One day the fella found a highway, and then also don't know why, he's very lucky, one of the people traveling the highway actually feed the wolf. Throw food to the wolf, very normal, and you guys know, right? So, and then, the wolf, because hungry, right, don't care, eat. And then the fella start to learn that, if I stay on this particular highway, if I see human, right, and then I do certain stuff, like wag the tail, things like that, they stop the car and feed me, After some time, this wolf gained notoriety for being the friendliest wolf on the road. Right, so now the wolf right now become a domesticated dog. Last time the wolf looked down on the dog, right? So, but right now the wolf found out that I don't have to hunt, and the human. Last time they said that human very dangerous one, right? It's actually pretty friendly, right? So now the wolf, they allowed the human to stop the car, come over. The fella will come over to you, very friendly to you, let you pet him some more. And the fella, right now is like, fat again. So how? Tell me, wolf or dog better? Right? So that's why, you don't go and look at, strong day master is better. Strong day master put in the wrong place, also you die. A weak day master put in the right place, basically outshine anything. Right? Need to find friend to fight with them. Right? So yes. Okay, right? So no, this is basically the thing, right? So then the last thing that you can read is basically, read for room for improvement. Right? So do you know that crows actually know how to use tools? Yeah, right. So the entire idea, last time you guys got read the little children's story. Don't know why this particular story somehow an entire world also know. I know the crow that take the stone from the river and put inside the bottle to drink the water one. That one right. So everybody right now, when you're adult now, you start wondering, why doesn't the crow just drink the water from the river instead of taking stone from the river and putting into the bottle? The crow. Stupid, but anyway, they've done experiment that when the crow want to eat worms, it actually know how to break a twig and put it into the wormhole and let the worm bite the twig and pull the worm out and eat the worm. Yeah, crow can do that. Crow know how to unlock stuff, right? Use tool to it even know how to mimic the sound of different animal, just to scare or lure animal out. Pretty intelligent. Right, so this portion I call room for improvement. Right, so room for improvement, very easy. You take a look at this. Right, so you can see that every year there are certain elements that basically spike up. Spike up element mean that those are elements that you can acquire, learn. Spike up mean that you can learn. Right, every year different things start spiking up. Right, so those that spike down one mean you lose interest. That's it. right? So place nut on the road and wait for the vehicle to crack the nut. Yeah, no, that also they know how to do. Right, so these are stuff that you can see. So you can also learn. So now like for example, this particular person eating got hurting officer very low, right? So but this particular year the eating got hurting officer spike up. So if the particular person right now this year has taken on a what we call decide that I shall learn how to be a bit more creative this year. So the fellow may pick up sketching. You will find that this particular person this year, the ability to actually learn sketching is much more faster. That's it. That's all. Yeah. Doesn't mean that he would like sketching, by the way. Right. So these are good that you want to acquire certain skill set. Right. You want to acquire certain skill set. Right. So because any skill set that you have acquired will stay with you. Like sketching or riding a bicycle, or going to learn how to swim. Right. So once you learn the skill set already, it will stay with you. Right, so it's something that you can accumulate on your own, but it does not drive the overall interest. Right, so you do not drive the overall interest at all, but it's a good thing. It's basically a good thing, right? So it gives you a what we call a advantage over other people. Like for example, this one friend start go out. This year generally the fella is a bit more open and friendly. So when you're a bit more open and friendly, it's easier for you to do networking. So go and do networking, Right, so now a question is, you do these sort of activities for what purpose? Right, if you do this activity no purpose, then no use. Hello. Right, so if you go networking, then specifically you need to know what are the people, what are the quality, what are the stuff that you need to network with. You don't just go simply networking, but unless this is like the first time you go networking, then simply networking is fine. Right, so yeah. These are, 3 things that you can do to basically learn about yourself in a quick manner, right? So, not very difficult, right? So, come, let's take a look at a live, right? So, I can do live screen right now, right? So, now this is the free version. So, this is the free version. So, any one of you who open a free version, will basically see this screen. So, you're going to see, you can upgrade to unlock. So, of course, we're not upgrading, right? So, first of all, you need to plot a chart. Right, so name, you can put any name at all, right? Demo. So I like to put XX, right? So and then you put the gender, don't care lah, right? So we'll plot. This particular person has suddenly been born, right? So this is the person that's basically born at this particular hour, this particular time. Let me see. I think I will make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. Okay, right? So this is the chart, right? So this is the chart that come out, right? So now you can see that there's actually a lot of things to click on the top, right? So this one you can take a look at natal, right? So this is the natal chart, right? So you can scroll down, right? So you can see that the bottom part of it, right? So the bottom part of it is where all this information is. So if you can take a look now, this particular person, the natural gravitation for this person seems to be water. Water seems to be the highest, right? So water is the sorry, too blur, I also cannot read. Water is the wealth star, right? So water is basically the wealth star for this particular person. And so then you start to have a first level information already. So this particular person, connectivity is pretty good, so you got a wealth star, is a very fairly hardworking person. Now, so in the olden day, they like this sort of right? So now in the olden day, I just tell you, people who have stronger wealth star mean that the person is more hardworking, more diligent, does have an advantage, right? So they usually would label this sort of people as being, higher chances of success. Success in the olden day mean that you don't put your family into hunger, right? You're willing to work the land, you're willing to go out and fish, you're willing to, do all the carpentry work, you're willing to do works. Right, but nowadays, if you're willing to do works, if you don't get exploited, then good for you. Okay, right? So that's how you take a look at that, right? So now let's see whether can put in or not. Wait, see whether can. Right, so upgrade to elite. Sorry lah. Right, so now this is what you can take a look. All right, so then you can also take a look at the luck pillar. Right, so change it, and then you can take a look at the luck pillar, and you can take a look at the year. Right, so fairly a lot of information for you to read if you just want to read it. Right, so you can take a look at auxiliary star. Auxiliary star is the sun star. Okay, free one cannot see. You can see annual. Right, so you can see annual year for 2025. Right, so you can see this. Right, so these are the Sensha, for the particular BaZi chart, right? So Sensha for the particular BaZi chart itself. So let's take it, right? So direct wealth very high, indirect wealth is also very high, right? So then you can see that this particular person, if put into an area whereby, now direct wealth people usually are people who know how to run things on their own, self can settle things on their own, right? So if you are in a position whereby it required higher level of independency, right? Higher level of independency, you can make your own decision, like that, right? So then you're in a better position, right? So direct wealth don't really work well in a position whereby constantly people send them instruction they don't like. Right? Direct wealth don't like to be sent instruction, right? So direct wealth is the person who usually call people around. Okay, right? So you go and work in those type of area, right? So you go work in those type of area, right? So direct wealth also does not really like people who constantly look for instruction. So that is called the resource star. Right? So if you see that if your resource star is heavy, right, you may want to work in an area whereby people constantly send you instruction, no? Right? So you feel safe, when people send you instruction. Whereas the direct wealth, no, direct wealth don't have the patience to wait for people to send instruction. Right, so find great area for you guys to actually work at, right? So if let's say that we change, go back. Right, so can you see after you printed one, then it will save it inside, right? So let's say we change, let's say we do a demo sample, I just name it sample, right? So go for female. Right, so and then let's say this person is born in 1987. Okay, so April, and let's say change, right? So again, another random person, right? Direct wealth is not good as employee, not necessary, right? So direct wealth just don't like people managing them. Okay, direct wealth go on their own. They're actually good employee if you know how to empower them. Right, they are good employee if you know how to empower them, right? So, but if you do not know how to empower them, yeah, direct wealth, they generally doesn't really listen. Just put it in a way, direct wealth pretty bad listening, right? So they are not move on their own, move on their pace, kind of stuff, right? So, if you give any task on direct wealth, what we call, rest assured that they will get it done. That's the good part about it. Right? So now depending on how crazy power you are. Right? So like this particular person, you can see wood is overwhelmingly high. Right? So now wood overwhelmingly high, so you know that this particular person, need to be in a growth area. So if you put them in a organization or in an area whereby it's heavily red tape one, right? The fella cannot breathe. Right? The fella doesn't like red tape situation. Right, so the fella is constant growth, so if you put it in a more innovative department, right, department that is innovative, they are equally high. This person can follow instruction, can follow instruction. DO would actually ensure that the fella will follow instruction. DO will ensure that, right? So DO very high is basically a self-governed person. It's a self-governed person. The only reason why the fella don't slap at you is the only. Right. So you see, direct wealth also don't attack you. Right. So direct wealth is actually a very strong attacking force. So you guys know that direct wealth is an attacking force. Right. So now what happens if DO and DW is equally strong is that a lot of time the fellow will ignore you. If you are dumb, stupid, you give instruction, the fellow will just ignore you. Simple enough. Right, so it's called being diplomatic. Just don't care about you, I'll do my own stuff. You go die on your own. Right, back to this particular guy, right? So now the fella need to be in a innovative, right? So change, so if you go into industry whereby it is innovative and also change would actually help out this guy, right? So if you're in the industry, whereby it is all dead and stuff like that, cannot, right? So like for example, this guy cannot work in a history department. Do not put this fella in a history department. No, wouldn't work. Because what history cannot change, right? So the fella, right? Unless you want him to change history, then it's different. right? So you can see that eating God is very strong, so you know that it's a fairly creative person, right? So you ask a creative person to be in an area whereby, you know, it is stagnant, you know how torturing it is, you know, right? So you know how torturing it is, right? So this eating God very, you know, eating God, hurting officer, both also is very strong, right? So this one is a what we call the performance type. Right? Not only very creative, he's also very eager to show people his creativity. Right? So if you put it in a, you know, place whereby, you know, is he can display his creativity, then good for him. Right? So but if you put it in a place, you know, whereby, you know, his creativity is being hindered, like that, bad for him. Right? Again, no right, no wrong. It's really just your ability to specify yourself in the right area and also right component of movement. That's all you're trying to do also, right? So like for example, if this particular person is talking to a bunch of people who's not very open, not very creative, right? So then it's a bit suffering, right? Now by the way, you know, this fella cannot talk to academician. Right, so he keep on telling people what happened to the future. The academician will tell you that, oh, this one is not supported by facts. No, it's not gonna work. Okay, right? So, you know, this fella, you know, like to explore stuff, right? So, academician don't like to explore stuff. Too bad, right? So, you know, it's those kind of situation, right? So, you just need to understand that, you know, hey, you know, at what circumstance do I stand in a more advantageous situation, right? So, you know, yeah, right? So, just go and find that, right? So, let's say, you know, just go and take a look at another one, right? My favorite is XX. I always put XX. So let's say this fella, you know, very old already. February, let's say the 4th, right? Say middle of the night. Okay, then, you know, we can take a look, right? So this particular fella is also wood output very high, right? So also eating God, right? So like this one, you can see the component change, right? Just now is an eating God, hurting officer very high. So this one is eating God, 7 killing very high, right? So when eating God, 7 killing very high, okay, why you don't look at the heaven? What is there to look at the heaven here? We are looking at the summary. We are not looking at the BaZi chart. All this, we are not looking at the BaZi chart at all. I'm just looking at the bottom summary part. The two part that, you know, we have been discussing, right? So there's no reading the BaZi chart right now. We are not reading the BaZi chart at all. We are just looking at the bottom summary part, right? So the summary, you know, on the 5 elements said that the wood is the highest. So again, so you know that this particular person is a person who chase after growth, right? So you want to put him in a organization or in a circumstance, you know, whereby growth is being valued. There are places whereby growth are not being valued. Just tell you first, right? So no, do that, right? So I have 95% EG working in a university. I tell them a certain topic will be popular 10 years ago due to AI. They say currently no demand, so don't know. Typical, right? Typical, right? So say production is correct. Typical, right? So yeah, eating God generally can see things that is, you know, they want to move towards a place, you know, whereby it is nicer. Right? So yeah, no, we're looking at the profile strength, right? So like this one is different from just now. Just now is a eating God hurting officer, very strong. So eating God hurting officer, the fella can't wait to share with you his new discovery. Right? So but this one is eating God 7 killing, very strong. This one can't wait to take the new discovery to test it out. So now 2%, one is only, you know, got new discovery, you know, trying to hoo-ha share with you, talk only, no action. Right, it's called natal. Versus this one, you know, I got a new discovery. I will go and test it out. So tell me, which one would actually come to success faster? Depend, right? Depend, right? So you know, if you are the hoo-ha type who know how to rally people together, rally people together and get everybody to go and test it out on behalf of you. Successful or no? If not, then you know, like that is good, right? So like for a strong day master, this is actually much more better. This combination is much more better, right? So no, right? So they like this sort of combination much better, right? So for people who was willing to do, right? So because 7 killing is willing to go and attempt, right? Yeah, 7 killing a bit gung ho ma. Right? A friend has 100 billion, will climb up if can't accept others' view. Also normal. It's not called climb up, right? So if the entire idea is that you are below me. Eating God got this. You are below me. Right? So I don't want to be associated with you. You are below me. And that's what eating God like to do. Very classy. Right? So it's like the in the olden day, Victoria era, the gentleman. Right? So the gentlemen, do not want to be associated with the peasant level people. You guys are all below me. Yeah. It's that type of situation, right? Understand? Right? So yeah. So you can fairly quickly do a bit of a reading and this, and start to decide, where are the direction you want to go. Now again, whatever that you are doing right now is not wrong. Whatever you are doing right now is basically the best choice that you have made, given the information that you have, given the information or circumstance that you have. This is the best choice you have. But right now you're an adult. You got additional information right now. Try and shift yourself, right? So they are no too late, They are no too late, because last time the game is die very young. So last time 50, 60 years old, basically you are set for dying already. Right now, AD also cannot die. Right? So from your retirement of your 50 years old until your 80 years old, there's another 30 years of journey for you to go. Don't tell me you don't have time to make shift. Right? Sin metal is humbler than EG, huh? Don't understand the statement, Backpush. Right, you might wanna go and find a sin metal with very high what we call hurting officer and try out. Right. So sin metal hurting officer is eating God. Eating God. Sin metal hurting officer is run water. You just imagine something with run water type of hurting officer. Right. Scare people don't know the sin metal. Okay, but anyway, so now these are what you can do reading now. What's the difference between pure EG and EG generating wealth in the term of how? Again, EG generating wealth basically is a person who's willing to go and do stuff. Pure EG is just, again, great imagination. Right? Great imagination sometimes doesn't do anything. When you have wealth star, right? When you have a wealth star, then you are willing to go and get things done. So that's why EG generating wealth, which means that you have an idea, you're going to put it into a business. Right? Makes sense, right? So the wealth star is the star that measured the amount of energy you attack outward. Right? So, and then the influence star is the energy that is the attack inward. This is the only two whereby you are engaging with external force. So which means you are getting things done. The rest of the energy don't engage with external force. Right? Like output star is what you produce. Nothing to do with it. And whereas resource star is what you receive. Nothing to do with engaging outside. Right? So there's two force that does not engage in the outside. There are two forces that engage. So for you to get things done, you need to interact with external force. Right? So or else the fish won't catch itself, right? The plant won't plant itself. The table won't assemble itself. External interaction is required, which means that money won't drop from the sky to your lap. You have to go and earn it. Make sense or not? Right? That's basically the way you think about the situation. Right? So that's why, please don't take a look at people. Oh, the fella got a lot of wealth, start sure rich. No, the fella is just hardworking only. That's it. You're hardworking in the wrong area, also no use. Okay? Your mental capacity not good, Mental capacity not good, not that you're stupid, it's just you can't see things. Right? So you can't see things for what it is, right? So then you become a very good employee. In employment, I actually ask people to, go and employ people whereby their wealth is a bit more on the prominent side. Or the people who are going through wealth luck. Right, so going through wealth luck. So if you go and partner with people going through wealth luck, very little chances of you screwing things up. Right? Because why? The fellow will keep on getting opportunity. So it's even better if the fellow doesn't know how to deal with the opportunity. You just take all the opportunity that the fellow attract in. That's it, done. Simple. Right? So no need to headache. Right? So always go and, so that's why I say that, it's good that you learn this skill and then you go all over the places. You go and tell people that, hey, you know what? I just learned this, Chinese metaphysics thingy called BaZi. Right? So now I know how to read people's birthday. You want me to help you read? Right? So all Kebochi in the world will basically come and say, yeah, let's read mine. And then, you know how the composition is, you know what the luck pillar is, then you can keep this particular person one side lah. So every year you can review. This year, this particular person is very on. So this year, I spend more time with this particular person. That's it lah. Very easy only. You find that this person is on, you spend more time with this particular person. What's so difficult about that? Right? So, go and find 10, 20, 30, friends. Keep their BaZi chart around, keep on looking at it, take a look, oh, this one, this year, really on. Then, you do a bit of work together with this particular fellow this year. That's it, very easy, right? So, sometimes, you give value to this particular person, right? So, and then at times, you take value from the person. Is indirect wealth not good at being employed? The not good part is indirect wealth, a bit opportunistic mean that, this thing is easy to achieve, I do, hard to achieve, I run. That's indirect wealth. The opportunistic in that particular manner. Right? So if your position require an opportunistic person, aka, this is a strategic management. Strategic management means opportunistic fella. Right? So, good law. Right, so being opportunity is good, right? So like, for example, this particular person is basically in charge of looking at certain investment that can, bring the company things up, yeah. You are in the acquisition of company, right? Acquisition of business. Indirect wealth would be more helpful. If you just want to build the company from scratch, direct wealth would be better, right? So, but if you want to acquire a company, then you need indirect wealth. Right? Direct wealth don't know how to acquire company. Okay? It's not in their brain structure. Right? But indirect wealth, no. Indirect wealth like to look for opportunity. Easy way out. Right? So the bad part is that the fella know how to escape. Right? So usually I tell people is that if let's say that there is a process, let's say a sales process, right? You have an indirect wealth there, right? Initial part, you don't see the fellow attending any meeting, then when they are trying to plan things, doesn't see the fellow, but when do presentation, that time you see the fellow show up, and the fellow will do a good presentation, by the way. Then afterward, when you need to execute, that time the fellow disappear. That is indirect wealth, right? Only the important thing the fellow will show up. Right? So, but if you are type of people who only value efficiency, indirect wealth is good. Indirect wealth is a very efficient fella. Super efficient. Right? But it's not very reliable in the way that other thing the fellow run away. Oh, I've done my part already, they run away. Okay? Right. So if you are depending on reliance, then don't. Indirect wealth, not very reliable person. Okay, right. So here the indirect wealth is good starter, lousy finisher. Also in a way lah. Right. So again the fella, the fella know how to identify stuff when the situation become tough. The fella strategically shift. Right. So in terms of fight, mean that the fella only pick fight that he know that he will win. That's it. That's all. Nothing wrong, ma. I don't think there's anything wrong. Right. I do not think that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, cool. Right, so this is the sharing for today, guys. Right, so easy. Right, so you can go and do the reading. Right, so then after this, I might find other thing that you can read quite independently. Means that indirect wealth need a support system. Everybody needs support system. If the support system mean that you clearly knows that which are the area that you are strong in. And you focus on your strong area and you get other people to try and compensate your weaker area. Right? If not, you go and learn. Right? In the olden day, that's why the auspicious energy is the energy that is weaker. Because why? They're asking you to go and learn it. In today, Maybe you get some agentic AI to do it for you. Okay, right. All right, so again, please, there's no right and wrong, right? So it's all circumstantial. All right, so that's it, guys. See you all. Bye.